Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos, the Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports, Fantasy Football, and Game Source. Truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. Big shout out to our radio stations worldwide that have been playing us for years now, years and years since 2016 and 2017, 2018. Whenever you decided to jump on board with the Cosmos, I cannot thank you enough for doing so. And of course, also as well, like and subscribe today. Like and subscribe on YouTube and also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that 5-star review, wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us out, helps us get out there in those algorithms and biorhythms and whatever isms. So you can go ahead and catch when we're on the air right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos with my compadre in crime. He is my fellow National University alum. I don't see any more National University alums really out there in the world. I think we are the most prominent National University alums that are out there. It is a good man indeed. It is, of course, the man behind Humanica Media, the Happy Hoarder, and also 1/3 of the triumvirate known as the Super BS Gamescast. It is, of course, Josh, the Great Peterson. What's up, man?
What's up? Yeah, I mean we're a lost class of of college citizens, right? We're National University, man. You don't actually I've been seeing a few commercials by them lately. Not nothing too crazy though.
Well, it's so funny because when we started off, we were National University. There was a couple others that were really at the forefront of the online college community, trying to get people to go ahead, go back to class, go back to school, do your education while you have other things in your life going on, family work, etc. And they were at the forefront of it. So applauds to them and everybody else, all of our professors that had to deal with us for that period of time until we both graduated. You are ahead of me. You're in the class ahead of me. So you're actually my, believe it or not, even though I'm age-wise much older than you, you're my senior as far as the graduating class is concerned. So yeah, just the thing is,
get in line, man.
Yes, exactly. Indeed. All I do remember was going to that graduation ceremony at San Diego's, what I believe it's Jack Murphy's Petco Field now. It's Petco Field.
Oh, it's funny because we had, or sorry, my mom also graduated from National University, and she was actually
congratulations to her. I never knew that.
Yeah, but she did it like years before I did, and she had it at the school itself. Like they have a massive like auditorium at the school, and she was there, and they marched.
The one in San Diego?
Yeah, the one in La Jolla.
Yeah, really? Because I went by the buildings. I didn't know they had one. I really didn't know they had one.
I remember sitting in a bunch of like folding chairs, and there's like a stage there, and everyone's like walking across the stage.
Okay, all right. Did you have any urge to use the folding chairs on someone? No, just no. I guess not.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. We just had a satellite building in Las Vegas. I don't even know if they still have it, but yeah, for the most part, I drove by the La Jolla one, and it's like, oh, that's decent sized school, and whatnot. But yeah, they had our graduation at Petco Field. All I remember is everybody else in the families and whatnot in the nice shade as far as the bleachers, but under the covered bleachers, and all of us sitting in our graduation robes, roasting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time I got my diploma, I was. It might have not been a blue graduation outfit anymore. That's all I'll say. It was like soaked in sweat. But yeah, man, I shouldn't say that because it's now 111 degrees here in Vegas. But my friend and everyone out there, I know to everyone listening and watching, wanted to hope for you a wonderful Father's Day, my friend. But to everyone and all the fathers that are out there as well.
Thanks. Hey, you too, man. You too.
Absolutely. Just a great day with the kids. Like I told you before, at 111 degree heat, you just want to get the food for you have a dinner, No going out, no that type of stuff. You just get home, get in the AC ASAP, indeed.
Well,
But it is, of course, the pop culture cosmos. We got a lot to discuss. My friend, first off, the box office, with all the stuff that's going on in the world, the box office still did pretty good this weekend with How to Train Your Dragon actually scoring pretty good returns. It's so funny because this is perceived as a success with 83 million domestically and just right on the $200 million mark worldwide. It's funny because that's right around what the Thunderbolts did. And I'm saying this for a reason because the Thunderbolts is just ending its run now, and it's going to go straight to video here in not too distant future. Probably not reaching $400 million, which in the financial terms, to how much it costs and everything of that nature, is going to be a money loser for Disney after Brave New World, Captain America Brave New World, only got a little bit more than that and is also financial failure. So
you know what's crazy though is that everyone's looking like critically it was a success, but I mean not financially obviously, but critically it was.
it's
People liked the movie a lot. I just don't think enough people went to go see it because people don't know who the Thunderbolts are. You know, it's
exactly.
they're the B squad of the Marvel universe, and had this bit come out the gates titled New Avengers, I think we'd be looking at a lot higher numbers because people would be like, "Oh, a new Avenger film."
But I think you're right on that. And I think even more so, diving deeper into that before we get back to How to Train Your Dragon, when it comes to the Thunderbolts and the new Avengers type deal, even in the movie, they're treated as second class citizens at the very end. If you take note, as far as especially what that after credit scene does, even though it's very good, it does the way it's verbalized. It's shown as, the group there is being treated as second class superheroes per se,
Yeah,
not second class citizens, but second class superheroes. So
yeah,
you could take that for what it's worth. So even in the world of the MCU, they were not prominently pushed as far as very well in their own universe. So be that as it may, I understand that they're going to be a great part of what's going on forward with, of course, the Avengers movies that are coming up. But I have some concern when it comes up to the Marvel Universe. Next month, I know the excitement for DC versus Marvel is there. I have a feeling that Superman, and as a Superman, the DC guy on our show, which you've been for a long time, I really think that the James Gunn interest into this has really sparked a lot of good things. What's been shown has been very intriguing. It suckered my family and I in on the preview as far as the event that they're having well before, a few days before the actual release. So I actually will
for Prime
have a
members, right?
review. Pardon?
Is that the one for Prime members?
Yes. So we got it. We got sucked into it and we decided to go ahead with it. IMAX. So my kids are excited. So we're going to go and see it. I don't know where that leaves Fantastic Four because we're excited for that as well. But yeah, the future is very uncertain for Marvel and all this. But the box office as a whole needs a DC or a Marvel to be sustainable going forward. Otherwise, I'm sure there's great concerns because How to Train Your Dragon, $200 million worldwide opening. I'm going to say that's probably going to lead to about maybe a 450, maybe somewhere between 400 and 500 million worldwide. That's good. That's pretty good. But it's not the overwhelming blockbuster I think that the box office needs right now, my friend.
Yeah, so Lilo and Stitch. All right, so I went to the theaters, took my young not my youngest, but my second youngest to go see Lilo and Stitch. First time in the movie theaters.
I
So we
don't think
went.
your youngest would really know what's going on yet. Yeah.
No, so I took my 2 and 3-year-old to go see Lilo and Stitch, and my older daughters, and we sat through it. I saw probably about 40 minutes of it. The rest of the time I was getting up and going to the bathroom with the babies, but it was I don't know, it was entertaining. People really liked it, but what really surprised me though, and we've talked about this a lot, is the fact that uh we kept talking about how the landscape of box office numbers and movies is changing, and it's been that way ever since COVID happened. But I can honestly tell you, I think we're getting back to a point of normalcy because Lilo and Stitch is about 2 weeks old now, and the theater was packed. Every seat was filled in this theater. So I think that we're getting, and it might just be because it's summer, but even during the school year, the theaters have been crowded. So, but I mean, look at Lilo Stitch, $858 million. It's
See that? 3 weeks is right now been out
3 weeks. In another week, it could surpass Minecraft. Like this could very well be the first American movie to cross $1 billion this year. But I think that the landscape for theater going is starting to reach numbers that it once was. Marvel is a whole different story, but I think we're starting to get there again.
It's for anybody out there who always wants to keep up on those type of things as far as the numbers in the box office. Every Monday or Tuesday, if you go to Dan Morrell, his channel on YouTube, he actually breaks it down and shows you how well the box office is doing from what it did last year and then what it did in 2019 before the pandemic. So you can gauge to where it's at. And it, while it's going all over the place, it seems like it's a little healthier at this point in time than last year, and it has a chance to get near those 2019 levels, which again would be, like Josh says, is an encouraging time. I'm just wondering if there's going to be, if Marvel and or DC start to really fall off and become non-entities in the box office. I'm just wondering who picks up the slack, Josh. What other event movies or
None.
I guess what lineups come. Is it going to be just in like you're hoping for the next Barbenheimer, or is there going to be that line of movies that come that actually will be able to find that success like the DC and Marvel? Well, mainly Marvel movies have.
Okay, so what is exciting about this is I think seeing the slump in Marvel movies. We haven't seen a Transformers movie for a while. We haven't seen even Mission Impossible is proof of that. But like, I think we're seeing less. We're going to start seeing less and less franchise movies, and we're going to go back to a landscape similar to what existed in the 90s, right? Where people were putting out all types of movies, late 90s, early 2000s, where movies of all kinds were making it into theaters and making money, and people were going to watch them.
I hope so. I hope you're right, my friend.
That's what I think is going to happen, because if you look at the stuff that's out right now, right? We have Minecraft, Lilo and Stitch is a remake, so I don't know how much that counts. We have Sinners, we have what do we have? Dogman, we have Mickey 17, we have the Accountant 2, Working Man. We have all these movies that really and some of them really have no business being in the theaters right now, but they're there and people are watching them. Like even something as Jason Statham, right, as the Working Man, it almost made $100 million. So I mean, I think we are getting back to that place where people are, filmmakers and studios aren't afraid to put things out that don't have a Marvel or DC logo on them. I could be wrong.
Even a movie like The Materialist, which came out in limited release from A24 with Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, and isn't he in every movie? Pedro Pascal. That has garnered good critical reviews and actually has exceeded slightly some expectations on a much smaller scale. So you're right. People can be going now out to the movies more often. They could be going ahead and check this out. It's just, again, we'll have to see how this is, especially if Fantastic Four doesn't meet expectations for Marvel. That's going to be interesting, because I think Superman is going to start out big. Even if the movie blows chunks, I still think it's going to have a good first weekend. Whether or not it sustain itself, we'll have to see going forward, Josh.
So here's my thoughts on this. So because look at it, Man of Steel came out of the gate strong, right? It had a decent box office number or box office return. So we have, people love Superman, people love Batman, Green Lantern is, give or take, people love Wonder Woman. But when you get into the more obscure things, I think they're going to suffer from the same problems that the Snyderverse suffered from, with Suicide Squad. Who are these people? Why should we care about them? Right? You had what else? The Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey or whatever. Like that was just a horrendous movie. But sorry, what I'm trying to say is when they get into the lesser known heroes, they're going to suffer from the same problems that Marvel has, the same problems that the former DC universe had, where people aren't going to go watch these movies because they have no idea who these characters are. Right. And I get it. They're like, oh, we're going to get people to go read comic books and look into backstories and stuff. But people aren't going to pay, $20 to $20 or less. I don't know how much a night theater ticket is. So hey, remember back in when I was 16, if you went to the theater at night, it was almost like $17. Remember how high ticket prices were back then?
Yes,
That was crazy.
But they're not getting it much cheaper now. That's the problem, though.
No, they're slowly getting back up to that though. But anyways,
Yes.
they're going to have the same problems that Marvel and DC had. Former DC had, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And not every DC movie is going to be a slam hit, and so it's inevitable.
We will see what happens, but again, a good start for the live action version of How to Train Your Dragon. The only thing I fear, my friend, is the fact that this success of this and Lilo Stitch is going to leave us with a lot more live action remakes. So your thoughts on that? I'm not in love with them, even though there was some interest here in the house possibly wanting to check out How to Train Your Dragon, this version, but I am overall not in love with the prospect of them populating the marketplace. But I have a feeling, despite the naysayers as far as for Snow White, the success of this movie and Lilo and Stitch is going to dictate that more live action remakes are on the way, my friend.
But also Disney's not immune to that too, though. I mean, the box office failure. Look at Snow White, right? Was one that people were not huge fans of. The Mufasa or whatever it was did not do that great, right? That's why we saw it so fast on Disney Plus. But I think Disney does have some great movies that could be great live action remakes. They've been talking about Hercules for a while. Guy Ritchie's supposed to be directing that one. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Atlantis and Treasure Planet would be fantastic remakes, but I think Disney's getting to the place though where they've done remakes of all their classic films, and they're going to start having to pull from these more obscure titles in order to get people to, or in order to keep doing this thing that they're doing. So I don't foresee them being like a big juggernaut in the box office with these remakes, but I mean, you have something like Lilo and Stitch was fantastic, or not fantastic. It's fantastic for them, but who knows? I mean, and they could have a couple more of those up their sleeves, but they don't have an infinite catalog of movies that people are absolutely in love with that they haven't already remade.
Oh, you may find out to be proven wrong on that one, my friend. Don't ever underestimate the repeatability and thought process of these studios, my friend, because if you watch the studio, as far as on Apple TV Plus, what a great show that is. That's absolutely a very funny.
Yeah.
Seth Rogen does an amazing job on that show. But I wanted to say that it really teaches you the mentality of what goes on in Hollywood to a great extent. So much so that a lot of bigwigs in Hollywood that haven't been on the show have reached out to Rogan to say, you are a little bit too close to what we're doing.
It's funny. I've really enjoyed the studio, but there have been some episodes where I'm like, I can't watch this right now. This just feels so awkward for this is making me really uncomfortable. Some of the parts in that show. It's such a great show, though. I really love it.
It is the favorite right now for the best comedy Emmy. It is the studio on Apple TV Plus. So hopefully everyone will give it a look-see in the not too distant future over the summer, because I know that I've been asked about some of the stuff on Netflix and Prime. Is there any good stuff there? I would suggest also you go ahead and check out Apple TV Plus because they've had of the streaming outlets, they and HBO Max have had a really good year so far with some really good stuff that they put out. So yeah, go ahead and check out all the stuff that's going on streaming. I know that Netflix has a lot of stuff coming on the way, including Happy Madison 2. Don't forget Stranger Things later this year and some other good stuff. But yeah, there's right now a lot of good pop culture that has come out this year. We're after the writer's strike slowed everything down to a crawl. It looks like Hollywood is finally catching up as far as what's coming out. The only thing, again, when it comes right down to it, is Marvel. The Marvel, that's still a concern as far as whether or not it will regain any sort of audience that will be retained for the future. And I'm sure the concerns were there when they delayed both Avengers movies 6 months in doing so.
Let me ask you a question as we're talking about TV shows here. The Harry Potter show on HBO, right, or Max or whatever it's gonna platform's gonna be on. How successful do you think that show is gonna be? Because we've talked about Harry Potter, the movies. Movies are great. A lot of stuff left out of the books, and they're promising that this version will be 100% true to the books. Do you think that all like the whatever the stuff is going on with J.K. Rowling and all that, do you think that's going to have any weight on how many people consume this show?
I think it'll have some. I mean, we heard even who is it? Nick Frost. A lot of people were getting on him. Was it John Lithgow also as well? His casting as well as Dumbledore got a lot of people concerned as well. But with Nick Frost, a lot of people were reaching out to him as far as why would he do this after what was said. And you have to look at it this way. Yes, those comments are what they are, and they're very, in many ways, very reprehensible by a lot of people, to a lot of people. And I that it is what it is. We try not to get political and anything like that, so I don't want to go too deep in any thoughts on that. I want to try and stay away from that and get us. I don't want to get hate mail for us, so I'm going to try and stay away from that.
Oh yeah, but I'm just asking, like, because of.
I'll finish by this saying, I think there would be a little bit, but overall, the Harry Potter name. So Harry Potter, the book series, whatever you say about J.K. Rowling and all the reprehensible things that she might have said to people about certain issues, she has created basically a franchise that has millions and millions of people that have grown up with this enlightenment. I mean, you go to Universal Studios, where's one of the most popular places to go.
Massive lines still, even to get on those rides too.
And they're not worried about what J.K. Rowling said, whatnot. I think I think it will achieve a lot of success no matter how well the movie is, or at least up front. It's gonna receive a lot of interest up front. The Lord of the Rings show on Amazon received a lot of interest up front. It's just how good is it as far as creating the narrative. I still to this day, Josh, and we talked about this before, I still to this day think that recreating the series, recreating the movies, recreating the Harry Potter books was the wrong move. I still think it should have been Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, the one where Harry Potter, he's the soccer dad, and then just having to come back to. I think that is a movie series or some type of experience that should have been what Warner Brothers should have hit on. That I think is really something, because that I think would overcome any controversies, because there'd be a lot of people your age that would still want to go ahead and see this, as far as Harry Potter coming back into the world and all that. I just think that would have been a better move than recreating the series. But I still don't. I still think that it's going to do very well for HBO Max initially, despite whatever controversies or controversial statements J.K. Rowling has said.
So, but yeah, and I agree, and honestly, like I'm of the mind where it's like we have already, even people who are mad at this thing, like we've all have to at some point separate the art from the artist, right? Because
I agree. In this case, you definitely do. People have to
and
people will, and they have to definitely do.
because I mean, look at this. Like everybody loves H.P. Lovecraft's based stories, right? And even stories they don't know are based on H.P. Lovecraft stuff. But like that guy was super racist, Like there's a lot of authors out there that have said and done a lot of reprehensible things. And
what is it? The recent Dilbert creator, I believe, said some reprehensible things as well. And again, do you not take enjoyment from the work that that individual did for the years that they were putting into it, or do you just take those words and just say, that they use and just say, what, I'm never going to appreciate anything that that individual did again beforehand? So it's you hit it right on the money, Josh. Can you separate the art from the artist? That's the question. And if you can't, I totally respect your decision. If you can't, I totally respect.
If you can't, don't watch the show. And if you can't, like there's gonna be a lot of media out there that you're not gonna be able to consume. It's like the same thing on the other side of the court, right? Where people were Christians for a long time. We're like, you need to boycott so and so because they did this or that. But if you boycotted everything that upset you, you wouldn't have anything to watch or comment on. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. But anyways, but much like Lord of the Rings, I think even people who are like, oh, this show's gonna be so bad, people are gonna go to watch it just so that they can comment on and be part of the movement. So I think it's gonna be. I hope it's good, I guess. But it's living in the shadows of the movies, which have a lot of which a lot of people hold pretty dear.
I wanted to ask you this before we head to the break. It's funny because Candace Cameron Bure, speaking of this controversial thing, and she recently said that she will never allow. I think she's the creator of the Grand American Channel or something like that, and respect to her for that. But she said that she'll never allow a horror movie in her house because that will let out the demons out when they do. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that's some pretty strong stuff. I mean, better not watch the Halo series. That was pretty horrific. So that's all I'll say.
so like I grew up in that culture, though. Like I grew up in the church culture, and like I know a lot of people. I've encountered a lot of people who are exactly like that. But it's like the more that you give power to something you're afraid of, the more likely it is that you're going to keep thinking about it. It's a weird thing, but I don't know. That's kind of a really extreme way to look at things, and then you got to think about what qualifies as a horror movie.
To each their own is all I'll say. I have to respect it. So.
I mean, however you want to raise your kids is fine. We all consume, and that's the great thing about living in America, right? Is that we don't have to watch things if we don't want to, because there are certain types of horror movies that I'll stay away from because I don't want my mind lingering on stuff like that. So I get it. But there are some extreme things out there.
No Bloomhouse for her, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Does this mean, Josh, that King Arthur is not allowed in your house? That was a pretty horrific movie.
No, it's perfect.
I had to get that in there. I'm just kidding, everyone.
Better than Aladdin.
Yeah, well, I don't know. King Arthur.
There's a scale of Guy Ritchie movies, and Aladdin, I think, is pretty close to the bottom.
Okay, well, Fountain of Youth, like you said, it's a movie.
I forgot that he did that one. Oh yeah, yes. we talked about that. Yeah, yep, that was
okay. You got to know this, Josh. Come on, as the guy who is the host of the Pop Culture Cosmos, you have to know that every movie or every other movie is starred by Pedro Pascal, and every other movie is directed by Guy Ritchie.
It definitely seems that way, doesn't it? I mean, he used to like choose what he did, but now he's like taking everything, which is not necessarily a good thing. It's kind of like what Michael Bay was doing in the 90s, right? He's literally directing everything.
Well, so far right now, Pedro Pascal, everything that he is doing seems to at least not tarnish anything as far as concerned. Even Materialist, he's getting good reviews for that. So we'll see. He's up to doing Eddington, I think, here in a couple of weeks. That's coming out. Him and Joaquin Phoenix. And of course, he's got that little Fantastic Four movie. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to go ahead, like you said, we live in a place where if you don't want to do something, or if you don't want to check out something, you don't want to watch something, don't. And you should be respected for your decision on that.
Yeah. But you should
We may
also
not agree on it,
you
but
should also
you should respect it.
yeah, but and you should also, on the other side of that, you should also be respectful if somebody else wants to watch that though, and don't be shoving your opinions down people's throats.
Absolutely, absolutely. Unless it's King Arthur, but I digress on that.
Oh man.
But what are your thoughts out there on the box office right now? Are you more excited to go to the theaters, especially after a pretty good win for How to Train Your Dragon? Please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, 1/2 hour down, 1/2 hour to go here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. So before we get into really heavy mix of what was talked about over the course of what the non E3 should be E3, wish was still E3, but unfortunately it's not E3 period. I don't know if you read my text that I sent you earlier today, but it was based off of what you were talking about with Brank when he was talking about how Gears of War Reloaded, when that comes out, is only having a PlayStation 5 physical release. Maybe it'll have a Nintendo Switch 2 release. Probably not. It'll probably be a key code. But I did want to say that Xbox, if you had a version of the original Gears of War, and you have that on the queue in your Xbox 360 lineup or Xbox One lineup or whatever Xbox lineup that you have, you may be getting a free code to upgrade it to the Gears of War Reloaded versions. And that is at least something that, you're not getting a physical version of it for Xbox, but as a make good, that's not too bad, Josh.
No, it's not too bad. I mean, I would still like to have a physical copy of it. I mean, and I'll probably end up buying a physical copy of it on PS5. But it's really weird though, like what they're picking and choosing to give physical copies to, because they didn't do it for Forza, right? And they're doing it for Gears. I don't know what else is coming out next year, but it's a weird I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Like, I think usually, and vice versa too, right? Like Xbox didn't get a physical version of Final Fantasy 16, but who knows if they'll end up getting one for remake integrate. But I definitely think that also though. But do Xbox players really want to buy Gears of War physically for what the 10th time that's been remastered or remade?
Exactly. So I want to ask you this. Obviously, the biggest announcement, in my opinion, of the not so E3, should be E3, we miss E3, please come back E3 period, is the Xbox handheld. Their conjunction with Rogue Ally and the Rogue Ally X. It is still basically an Asus Rogue Ally, but it's been modified software and hardware wise to accommodate the Xbox. The interface, it's coming out later this year for the holiday period. It is not the true Xbox handheld. We don't know if that's still going to be something down the road, but let's just say this does well, despite whatever high price both the the Asus Rogue Ally S and Asus Rogue Ally X comes about. And let's just say that they do well. Let's just say they do well financially. I'm not asking for Nintendo Switch 2 numbers or anything like that, but let's just say they do well, Josh. Could this reignite Xbox's interest on the next hardware or the next generation of consoles, which could be the last generation where all three put out consoles? Could it reinvigorate Xbox to say, you know what, there is still a marketplace for Xbox. You know what, maybe we should put one last push into an Xbox hardware once again?
It's possible. I mean, I think that the teaming up with Asus to put something out on the handheld market instead of like focusing development on a Microsoft only product was a smart idea for them, right? Little less financial investment and just to kind of test that market. And who knows, maybe they'll go back to that original plan if this ends up being successful. But I think that Microsoft has already built such a massive infrastructure for moving away from consoles. I think very well that after the next Xbox, that could be the last time we see a physical console from them. What do you think, though? Do you think I mean, I don't think PlayStation's in any danger of, not making consoles anymore, because that's a revenue stream that they don't want to lose. But yeah, I don't. It's hard to say what the future might hold for Xbox, because they're doing a lot of unpredictable things that I did not predict them doing.
I'm just going to say this: PlayStation 5. If you haven't bought one yet, again, I've said for months now, and I'm not trying to hate on them, but it's the fact. PlayStation has given you nothing, no reason at all, except for if you want to buy Xbox games on a PlayStation platform, has given you no reason at all to buy a PlayStation 5, because they've come out with almost next to nothing as far as first-party software that's actually going to be sustainable and be interested in for not a year, but almost a year. Going back to what some of the better games of 2024, but there's been quite a dry spell for PlayStation, and I don't know if it's because of Sony's arrogance or whatnot. It just seems like they don't seem very invested in putting out games in a timely fashion that are going to sustain the lifespan of the PlayStation 5, which, if I was a PlayStation 5 owner right now, like you are, I would be quite concerned.
Let me ask you a question. What in the world earned Death Stranding 9s and 10s? I'm playing that game right now, and it is so incredibly boring. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's a genre-changing game. It defies genre."
Walking simulator. It's an Amazon package simulator,
and it's so. But it's like it's so complicated. I know that Kojima is known for doing this, but like there are so many controls in that game that you have to press 2 buttons in order to access certain menus. You have to hold 2 buttons down at once because all of the other buttons are being used for other things on the original menu. Man, like I'm still playing it, and it's I don't know why I'm playing it. I'm like, oh well, Death Stranding 2 looks interesting, so I would definitely want to check that out. But I gotta sit here and finish this 80-hour walking simulator, and it's such a and maybe I need to get further into it for it to become better. But man, I tell you, it's not doing it. I don't understand it. I don't understand the story. I don't understand why people like this game. I really don't understand anything about this game, even why I'm still playing it.
And that's on the verge of Death Stranding 2 coming out here in the not too distant future, which to me is very curious. But I know why you're playing it. I know why you're playing it. I know why everybody has an interest in it. It's the word Kojima. It's Kojima. It's the name Kojima. Why does everybody want to go ahead and give it a try and give it a shot? Is because it's Kojima, and Kojima is known for the going off beat, going off plan, doing things a little bit strange and weird and hard to follow at times. But this is the way Kojima is. These are his games, and however cool you thought the Metal Gear Solid games were, quite often those stories went just in a completely different. I mean, the flying whales. Do you remember the flying whales?
I do, and even Metal Gear Solid got to the point though where the mechanics got so numerous and not repetitive, but like there's just so many things in all the menus. You had to again, just like Death Stranding, you had to press 2 sets of buttons to access certain things. Metal Gear Solid got pretty stinking ridiculous in the end. Like by the time that series was done, it had gone so far from what made the original such a fun game to me.
And Konami is actually back into the ball game with Metal Gear announcements and Silent Hill announcements, Silent Hill F, and they're putting their best foot forward again. They have a renewed interest in the video game genre, which is actually good to see. So hoping we'll see more of that going forward from Konami. But JSJ is saying, I play the PS5 for the big and exclusive games. God of War, Spider-Man 2, Ratchet and Clank are the games he plays on the PS5. That's great, but those games have been
all
out
those are
already for a number of years.
4 to 5 years old, those games. God of War Ragnarok came out 2 years ago, I think, but I was really expecting like the PlayStation conference or whatever was probably my least favorite showing because I was expecting to see another God of War game or something in the realm of just a franchise that I'm familiar with. Like I don't a lot of the stuff looked like they were just like silly games. Nothing that I could sit there and watch and could play and take it seriously.
Absolutely, because JSJ is asking when is the next God of War or Spider-Man. My guess is you'll see one of them in 27. My guess.
I mean, and the last chance we'll see this year, or chance to see something this year, or have last chance for Sony to talk about something is the Gamescom, right, in Germany, and I think Tokyo Game Fest. I don't remember when that is exactly, but yeah, I don't. It's I was expecting more, and they did not deliver on that.
No. But and Nintendo now with the Switch 2, obviously generating a good amount of sales. They now have to go ahead and do what they can to support it. Otherwise, you're going to see a ton of third-party ports landing on it. When you have also as well Xbox on the horizon with their handheld, which again, depending on the price tag, may or may not go through and may not sell to a large audience. We'll have to wait and see. But I'll be interested. I'll be interested to see how this plays itself out. It was interesting to see all the announcements. I know that you and Brank talked about it. I posted it on the last PCC Multiverse as far as you guys' thoughts on some of the major announcements that went on by. But before we go ahead and finish off the show, I did want to make mention that last week was actually a interesting week for some not AAA games. We talk about how we thought at one time the AA games were gone, absolutely gone from the universe. But now AA games, smaller parties, smaller publishers are coming back. Not indie level, but not AAA level either. They're coming back into vogue. We saw 3 of them come out within the past few days, my friend, with, was it Splitgate 2, MindsEye, and also as well Dune Awakening.
Yeah.
And of the 3, I'd probably say Dune Awakening had the best and let's just say least controversial start. They came out to solid reviews. I think it has right around a 77, 78 on Metacritic. So pretty good game, especially if you're into the Dune world and Dune universe as far as that's concerned. No real problems there. But let's get into Splitgate 2 real quickly here. I mean, that's a sequel that came out. If you're interested with Halo and Portal, if they had a baby, that's basically what the game is like. The game came out to okay reviews and whatnot, but it's the owner of the publishing outfit that really got, or the developer, excuse me, the owner of the developer really got the ball rolling with some controversial statements, and then also he had on some certain a hat that talking about making FPS great again. I think that was really maybe the poor choice in doing that. It said some other things as well that added on top of it. If you have to go back in the first few days of the game and have to make a public apology, that's not good for your product going forward. And we haven't even touched the MindsEye part of this equation, Josh, because every year we talk about one game that really goes off the deep end. We'll touch on MindsEye in a second, but yeah, Splitgate 2, this is not how you want to promote your video game when it comes out, Josh.
I didn't know anything about any of this stuff, so I'm learning this now.
Yeah, anytime you have to make a public apology in regards to Splitgate, your game, which the individual did as far as that's concerned. Yeah, that's the Splitgate 2 boss basically. He said, and he's a former Call of Duty. Now get this, a former Call of Duty developer. We'll get to this. A former AAA game developer. Just coming out with a game now. Splitgate, the original Splitgate, did pretty good. Splitgate 2, it's getting off okay, but yeah, again, it's the controversial things that are said and the things that they support. I don't want to go into detail because it's this probably one of our most controversial episodes ever on the things that we touched on, but I'll just say that again, you want to try to go ahead and appease to gamers when you're promoting your game, especially when it first comes out. You don't want to give them a bad impression at all. You don't want to detract or distract from what actually your game is all about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like trying to see what this guy. All I see is stuff about like political statements. I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty much what it came down to. But
obvi-
associating with his game as well. So
obviously,
yeah.
like if you're wanting anything in the media to be successful these days, you don't say anything about any sort of political leanings. So that's mistake number one for
Yes,
that.
or tie in your game to a certain political meaning. So that's you
Yeah,
just want to just say, hey, my game's great, give it a try.
play it.
And there you go.
Social media silent for the next several months until you've made all the money that you can make. You don't say anything about anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Josh gets it. Why can't this guy? But some people just gotta open their mouth or make a hat and do things that they got to do. So we'll see how Splitgate 2 actually continues on as far as it's concerned. But yeah, just wanted to get you up to speed on that. But then you have MindsEye. And the guy behind this studio, this brand new studio, and I'll go ahead and mention it here in a sec. He is from the world of 2K. It's actually from Rockstar. He was a developer on many parts of the GTA universe.
I see they're calling it a Grand Theft Auto clone.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it doesn't do much of that. It looks on the surface. It's like Josh, if you got a gift for Father's Day, and it's something where it's wrapped really nice, and the presentation is very, very nice. It's one of the best packages or gifts you've ever seen from the outside, and then you open it up, and as you would say, it's hollow. It's very hollow inside as far as what you open it up to. I think that's what you get out of MindsEye. The reviews are terrible. This is probably one of the worst reviewed. This is probably the worst reviewed game of this size this year. And I don't know. What I don't understand is you put the money into, you create a company specifically to go ahead and put this game out. Builder Rocket Boy is the developer. And you put this game out there and you make it with all these limitations. It looks great as far as the world is based off of Las Vegas. It's called Red Rock as a city. The cutscenes are pretty good. The voice acting is pretty good. And then, but it's all hollow because the missions are lame and repetitive. The shooting is lame and repetitive. The variation of what you do is minimal. Where you're going is driving point to point. The world itself, even though it's filled with a bunch of things, it's as far as people, cars, places, you can't go and visit it. It's bland. It was. Why can you not see these things when you're developing it and say to yourself, maybe we should just wait another year, fill all the stuff, correct all these potential problems. It's not like you're not QA testing it yourself and saying to yourself, you know what, this game is going to really be a big winner. It's not. It's not. You can tell when you play this game for just a few minutes, you can tell how bad this game really is. The thing is, though, you see like with the packaging, you see what this game really could have been and what it isn't, and that's the biggest shame of all.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to catch myself up on everything going on with this game. I keep seeing the word hot patch. So that
Hot mess should be actually the
but
word.
I mean, that's leading me to believe that they pushed this game out when it wasn't actually done. So I mean,
Yes.
they instead of delaying the launch of the game, they pushed it out when it wasn't ready, which was for a rookie studio, that was a rookie mistake.
But you're talking about someone who has, helped put out some of the biggest games of the century, because he's, the producer himself has a history of being attached to Grand Theft Auto after Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft. You would think just by osmosis you would learn how not to put this stuff out there. And maybe, like you said, it was a money crunch. They were, really getting short of money, so they really needed to push it out there. But this had been set up for months. We saw trailers for this game and for this launch release for months, and a lot of people were, kind of like, I don't know. And as we always say, Josh, if the game comes out and no review codes coming out for it, and when the game is released, that is a terrible sign. We've only seen maybe one or two times ever where a movie that doesn't get advanced reviews or a game that gets advanced reviews actually is good. That's usually a terrible sign for what's up ahead, and unfortunately it's come to fruition.
Yeah, I agree. It's that's definitely a foreboding. What was the other one that came out last year that was like that? They didn't put any advanced copies out, and the game ended up being really bad.
That IGN gave it a one or a two. Yeah, we were talking about it's that was like. Oh God, let me go ahead and say I'm gonna go. I'll look it up here in a sec. But yeah, I mean, MindsEye could have been. It looks good, Josh. That's the problem. To me, it looks really good as far as the depth, the city, the cars. The problem is you can't go in any cars like GTA. You can't just grab any car that that you see like in the GTA. Just all the lessons that the individual and the studio should have learned from the time that was spent working on GTAs. They did not follow. I don't understand this. I don't understand. If it was you and me making this game, we don't have a background working for Rockstar. I get it. But this guy, the producer, I'll mention his name here in a second. It really is disappointing, my friend, because you can see what it could have been and what it isn't.
Yeah, I mean, and these are all mistakes too that have been made over and over by a lot of developers over the past couple years. So you would think that by this point you would have some sort of checklist. Oh, we need to make sure this is fine and this is fine. We need to send it out to beta testers and get their thoughts on it. This sounds like it was just, well, we made this, we're okay with it, let's put it out.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm telling you, it's just was a shame that this was even put out there. I'm still trying to find that really bad game that it's like The Day After, I think, or something like that. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Was that it? Like The Day After, I think it was called, I think, or something like that. I don't know. I'm looking it up now. See if I can find it. Yeah, I know we dedicated a show to it. Yeah, The Day Before, and it was 2023. That's how time goes by so fast, my friend.
No, I know.
Yes, that was the one we dedicated an entire show to. And yeah, that was unfortunately probably one of the worst games I've seen ever. This is not one of the worst games I've seen ever, but it's just, you see, this reminds me of some of those disappointing games you and I went through in the 2005 to 2012 era of the Xbox 360 era, PS3 era, where there was some just shooters they put out there that you could see the potential of something more, and it just wasn't done.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, though, like there's a lot of mistakes now that have been made by so many people. You don't have to make them. You just make sure that you don't do the things that they did.
Leslie Benzies, by the way, is the former president of Rockstar North. Yep. So I know that there was a bitter parting, and I know that Rockstar did not want this game to succeed. There was even suggestions that Rockstar was trying to get, and give incentives to get reviewers to not let this game succeed, but they didn't have to worry about that. If you watch the game in and of itself, this shows that this game was not going to succeed on its own, and that's a shame.
But I mean, who knows? I mean, this, much like Cyberpunk, this could be a different game, even 6 months from now, because it doesn't sound like people are wanting to not play it anymore. It just sounds like they're wanting a lot of things fixed so that they can play it. And hopefully this is a work in progress instead of a work completed.
I'll say this: there is a flicker of hope in what you just said for MindsEye, is that they've allowed great access to the community to, remake their own missions and do things in it. Hopefully that will lead to even more access to allow them to go ahead and create some things or try and fix some of the things, getting help from the community. If that was the case, like you said, if the community support is strong for this, they may be able to repair this game, and ultimately 5 years down the line, it may see the success of what we've seen with Cyberpunk 2077 and No Man's Sky as well.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully that's the road we're headed down, because I mean the game it looks beautiful. I guess it just needs to perform better and be better.
So what are your thoughts out there on MindsEye, Dune Awakening, and also Splitgate 2? Are you playing some of these games? Are you worried about the controversies behind two of them? Or are you going ahead and giving all three or any one of them a try? Please let us know, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But before we head on out, my friend, wanted to go ahead and hear your thoughts on the E3. Not E3, should be E3. What was the one thing that excited you the most this month with all the announcements?
I'm really excited. I want to play Mixtape pretty bad.
Coming out soon.
Yeah, the new Resident Evil, of course, always enjoy those games. What was the Capcom game that they showed at Summer Game Fest? Proto something. It's like a really complicated name. Hold on.
I do like the one that Project Century. Again, I mentioned that before. I know they've changed the name. I forgot to do what they named to change the name to, but that one I'm looking forward to. Plus the Mouse PI game. That looks like a lot of fun.
Pragmata is one.
Pragmata.
That one looks cool. Honestly, man, I'm gonna be 100% forward. There wasn't anything announced or talked about at any of the things I was really got me excited about playing games the rest of the year.
Stranger Than Heaven. That's going to be the one that I was talking about. That one that's from the Like a Dragon studio, Yakuza studio. So That's the one I'm looking forward to. Plus the Mouse PI game. Let me see what's to get a Mouse for Hire. Mouse PI for Hire. That's coming out. That's going to be if you're interested in a black and white FPS shooter along the lines with the look of like Cuphead, there you go. But yes, the biggest announcement for me by far and away was the Xbox handheld. And if the Xbox Rogue Ally X does everything I want it to be, as I said on this show, as I said on Super BS, if it takes care of all my needs and is able still to run Windows 11, my gosh, that is the exact handheld I've always wanted. So
if I can play Game Pass and I can play things that aren't Game Pass, like I have access to the Microsoft Store and things that I've purchased on the Microsoft Store.
Emulation.
I'm on board for that. But here's the thing though, like it can't be like, this is not a handheld console that they're going to be able to charge $1,000 for and expect people to buy it. So it's got to stay $800 or less, or else I think that's going to scare people away from. They're going to be like, oh, well, I'll just keep playing on my phone or my Xbox or whatever. So they got to be really, really careful about how they price this thing.
I am absolutely in 100% agreement on that. So we'll see how that works itself out with the new Xbox handheld. If you are a fan of what you've seen so far and you're excited for the Xbox handheld, whether it's the S or the X, please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. So for Josh the Great Peterson from Humanity Media and the Happy Hoarder and the Super BS Gamescast, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great Father's Day.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.